What's up guys, Jeff back with another video. Well, today is review number 2 of the Super Joe line of figures released by the G.I. Joe Collector Club to its members. And we're going to be doing Darkon Gorman. This is a pretty cool figure. It was not a member of the original Super G.I. Joe line in the 1970s. Rather, it's a mashup using a existing character from the G.I. Joe Collector Club and combining it with a character from the Super Joe line. So we're going to take him back to the shop and do a really good review of him. All right, guys, welcome back. So here he is, Darkon Gorman, the second of the 2 figures the Collector Club released in 2017 as part of their Super Joe Reimagined line. As I mentioned in previous review, in April 2017, the club announced these figures via their newsletter. I found out about them on Facebook. This figure is an original figure by the Collector Club. He is a concept taking from the villain of the Super Joe team in the Super Joe line in the 1970s, the Darkon figure. They combined that with this figure named Gorman, who was a villain in one of the G.I. Joe Collector Club sets that you'll see me review later on this year. This, like I said, is an original concept. It was a really cool figure. We got a brand new villain for the Adventure team / Super Joe team. He came in a polybagged accessory, or came in a polybag set. You can see it has a nice retro styling. Darkon Gorman. I call him Darkon Gore, so I misspoke a little bit at the beginning of the video. My bad. He came with a comic book, which is exactly the same comic book that came with the G.I. Joe Super Joe Commander. It tells the origin story of the Super Joe Commander, and at the end, he battles in an alternate dimension Darkon Gorman. So on the back, it shows both those figures. This figure came with in the poly bag, it came with an accessory set. It came with a Re-Sculpted Flamethrower, as well as a tribute weapon to the Darkon figure of the 1970s, lightning bolt sword deal. It's chromed, so it's kind of weird, but cool, I guess. The figure himself is nicely done. It came with a brand new jumpsuit, the green jumpsuit, with the jack boots that are common in a lot of Collector Club sets. The head is a dyed head with painted eyes and a flocked goatee. The hands are painted Gung-Ho grip hands. Comes with a little bit of a belt and a parachute clip on it. Nice, simple. Now, the weird thing about this figure is the body of it is not green. So the body is just a standard flesh color. So only the head and the hands were painted, which I'm assuming the club did that to save money. The figure is on the G.I. Joe Super Articulated Body platform, which, like I mentioned in the Super Joe Commander video, was only released in the Collector Club convention sets. So this was the second time that they gave us a cool super articulated G.I. Joe body. It's highly poseable. These are great bodies. This also has the same production flaw that the Super Joe Commander has, the loose left elbow. So I'm not sure what the deal was behind that. I wish I knew somebody who was involved in the production process or production and planning process of the Collector Club. I'd like to ask him about it. Unlike Super Joe Commander, I never sent this guy back because I finally just figured it out. But this is a cool figure. Now, for some reason, he didn't come with the mutant creature. It was included with the Super Joe Commander. I misspoke in the last video. I called this thing Darkon. That's not the creature's name. It's a different name. It escapes me right now. If I sat here and thought about it, I could probably remember it, but I can't, so it's really irrelevant to me anyway. But ironically enough, that old electronic feature, that old electronic creature, the green one that had the light sensor that would work with the Super Joe light vest, this looks a lot like it. So The guys at the Collector Club did a really good job when they sourced this from Safari Limited. But like I said, this didn't come with the Darkon Gorman figures, so it's kind of irrelevant. So anyways, this is a cool figure. If you've seen a lot of my photo stories, then you know that this guy is a central villain in some of them, and will probably be a central villain in a couple of my photo stories coming up this summer. The nice thing about this figure, it is really cool looking. I've not seen anybody try to make this particular figure here. Now I know that Jerry Gonzalez has made his own Gorman figure from the convention set. This head here is a repurposed head sculpt from one of the G.I. Joe Real American Hero 12-inch figures. I can't remember which one it is. It's one of the Valor versus Venom figures, I think. So you could probably search around the internet and try to find this exact head. If you wanted to make this figure, you probably could do it several different ways, right? You could find the figure from the G.I. Joe line, try to paint it or dye it with a vinyl dye. Or you could take him, mold it, and have it to where you could glue it on a neck post if you wanted to make your own Darkon Gorman figure. Robert was it Ma with New Creation Studios. You can probably approach him about doing a head sculpt of this guy. But there's several different ways if you wanted to make your own Darkon Gorman villain figure. But this figure was done very well, in my opinion. I like this figure better than the Super Joe Commander just because the new factor of it and the idea of a new villain. He definitely has some nippage through the suit here. Must be cold in my basement. But it is a great figure. This jumpsuit's nice, it's simple, cool jumpsuit. But it captures the villain mystique, I guess, if you will, of the Adventure Team or Super Joe line. This looks like a guy you could put back in the 1970s, and he would definitely be a villain for your Super Joe line or your Super Joe Adventure Team. Me not being very familiar with the Super Joe line of figures and all the characters, I had to go back and research and look some stuff up. But he is very similar to the Darkon figure. I believe the Darkon figure had the orange eyes or yellow eyes. And this symbol here is one I use a lot on some of my villain stuff for my photo stories too. So it's just a cool concept. I really appreciate what the Collector Club did with this. In 2017, we got this. We got the Mike Power figure, and it was a high point for the Collector Club. And I really wish that they would have continued and been able to do more Super Joe inspired figures. But sadly enough, we did not see that happen. They lost the partnership with Hasbro, and everything just kind of faded into obscurity. I have no idea whether Hasbro will revitalize the Super Joe line. I know I mentioned in the last video about the fella at the World's Greatest Superheroes doing some Super Joe stuff possibly, and I know there's some other outfits out there that might be thinking about launching some Super Joe inspired items as well. But you know, the weird part about all of it is I think there's a lot of irons in the fire prior to 2020, and you know, post 2020, who knows what's going to happen really. I mean, who knows what creative processes got killed or what projects got killed, but that's for another time and place and discussion. But anyways, this is a great figure. I've not seen very many of these out there. I'm curious to know if you guys out there have this figure and what you think of it. This is, of course, the Darkon Gorman figure from the G.I. Joe Collector Club's 2017 Super Joe line. And this is the review. So I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe to the page. Hit the notification icon. I got some more reviews coming up as I quietly work on some other projects behind the scenes. So until then, guys, cheers.